Hello and welcome to the second season of Brand News, the podcast. I'm Charlotte Emily, your host, and I'm thrilled to partner with winkelstraat.nl, your go-to spot for all things luxury fashion, connecting international retailers and emerging luxury brands with the trend-setting youth of today. This season, we're delving even deeper into the world of brands and style. Every episode, we'll uncover the latest news, trends, and expert insights with the help of industry insiders. From exclusive interviews to behind-the-scenes moments, gear up to expand your fashion horizons with Brand News brought to you by winkelstraat.nl. Enjoy the show. I'm your host, Charlotte Emily, and I'm excited to welcome Paulinho to the podcast. Welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, excited to do this recording with you.
Yeah, nice.
When you confirmed to come on the podcast, I actually checked my CV because we worked together 7 years ago.
7 years ago?
Yeah, 7 years ago.
It's a long time.
Yeah. I'm really excited to get into your career and everything that you've been working on at Filling Pieces. Let's start at the beginning. How did you get involved? Besides your brother started the brand.
Yeah, so my brother started a brand. He was 19 years old. I was 17 years old back then.
Yeah.
I was still in high school, and we both lived at our parents' place back then. And so yeah, he started. He had an idea. I thought it was cool, and he just needed some help. So I tried to support him in any way I could. And from that went into the brand, and after I finished high school, I started studying, and I worked on the side. And then after I finished my bachelor, I went to work full time.
What study did you do?
Well, I always wanted to become a doctor or a dentist, but my admission didn't get accepted.
Okay.
So I had to choose something else, and I did pharmaceutical sciences for a year.
Okay.
And I really didn't like it, and then I switched to business economics.
Oh yeah, well, that worked out well when stepping into the company.
In a way, yeah.
When we worked together, you were in the ecommerce department.
Yeah.
Is that where you, besides from helping out from the beginning, is that kind of always where you've been in the business?
Well, when I helped out in the beginning, I think the first 3 or 4 years, I supported Guillaume everywhere I could. Yeah. So he was more focused on like design and marketing, and basically I did the rest. He also did the sales, and I just supported him, did logistics, packing orders, etc. And we first started with our own web shop. So that was basically my domain. And then when the company grew and we really set up a business, from that moment, the e-com was always my thing.
Yeah, because was that... you mentioned it was your first door basically opening into sales.
Yeah.
Has that always been the focus from within the business to focus on e-commerce?
Well, it hasn't always been the focus, but of course we always dreamed of being in like the big door, the big name doors. But of course you got to start somewhere. Yeah. And if you go to a store and you want to sell a product. Yeah. At first they need to see some results, etc. So this was a good way to start. Yeah.
Yeah. How long before your brother had the idea for the brand did you did it become reality?
Well, he had an idea, and he started sketching. He was studying architecture, so he learned like some basic in terms of sketching and designing. And I think it took about 6 months before the first sample came in. Yeah. And then it went back and forth to the factory like 2 or 3 times before he was confident about the shoe.
Yeah, that's exciting.
So not super long.
Yeah, 6 months sounds quite short.
Yeah, it's basically the same if we design a collection now.
I once heard you say in an interview, because to prep for this interview, I also watched another interview of you, and I heard you say once that your company doesn't weigh heavy on job titles.
No, we're not that big on titles.
Yeah. How? Because at one point you were like, if I can say so, head of the e-com department.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that role then within the company, and how did you navigate through?
Well, I think it went quite natural because, of course, I had been there for a long time. I was actually the first person after Guillaume working. So I've been through it all.
Yeah.
And then I first started with doing the ecom as a one-man show.
Yeah.
Then we found some people to assist us, etc. And finally we had like a team.
Yeah.
And with multiple specialists, and then I was overseeing it. So it felt quite natural, and of course I felt responsible. But I also think it's good to give the specialists their freedom.
Yeah.
So and give them room to grow, of course. And that way, that's why I'm also not managing that department anymore, because someone we hired years ago, he really developed into the role of being the manager.
Okay, so you stepped out of your ecom management, to say, role. Yeah. And what is it that you're involved in right now?
I'm involved in multiple things, of course, but I'm mostly responsible for the merchandising of the collection. So basically being the link between the commercial part of the company and the creative part of the company. Yeah.
Nice.
yeah, for sure. It's nice.
Yeah. Are you also involved in like the boards, the board of the company, like a board member? Yeah, How do you feel about that role?
Since I think 5 or 6 years now. So I think of course it's also a lot of responsibility, but in a way it's also I'm also very grateful for it that I've developed to get to that position. Yeah. So I think it's nice.
You work together obviously with your brother, and a lot of family members are involved in the business as well.
So my sister-in-law, my brother's wife is also involved in the company.
How does it feel for you to work alongside your family?
Well, it feels it feels good to me, but it's also what I know for almost 15 years now. So it feels natural. And people always say don't work with family or don't work with friends, but at the same time these are people you can fully trust. So to me it's great. And also if I'm very close with my family, also my sister, you've worked with my sister in the past, and also if we see each other outside of the office, we're still as close. And then it's not only talking about work, but also a lot of other things.
You started off as a shoe brand, obviously, and eventually also branched out into ready-to-wear. Yeah. How did that change, or how did that decision, or I don't know how it went, but how did it go?
Well, back then I was still doing the managing the ecom department. So of course I was also involved in thinking about it, making the decision, are we going to do this? And it took a long time for ourselves to find our sweet spot, our position, and also I think for the consumer for us to really branch away from being just a shoe brand into being a fashion brand. And it has always been Guillaume's dream to not only make shoes, but to be like a full-fledged brand. And maybe in the future it can also be like other categories.
Nice.
So
yeah, interesting.
yeah, for sure.
Watch the space.
Yeah. I personally would like to have like filling pieces, everything. I have a filling pieces couch in my home, but we're not there yet.
Yeah. Did you envision from the time that your brother said he wanted to design a shoe to now, all these years later, having developed all of these collections?
No, never.
No?
No. It's sometimes it still surprises me.
Yeah. In what ways?
Well, because as I said, I wanted to become a doctor, and from a very young age, I had my life sort of like planned out. And that didn't go according to plan, and in the end, it's still an amazing journey, and it also gives a good feeling that now that we've been around for quite a while. Yeah. So it's also not that we're like one-trick ponies or we have like like 15 seconds of fame.
Yeah.
So I think right now in the Netherlands, definitely we are like a solid brand. We're here to stay. So
definitely.
That's also a good feeling.
Yeah. You also opened your own store at one point, and then also have moved to a bigger store right now.
Yeah.
What was it that kind of made you want to open the retail space, or your own retail space?
Yeah, our own retail space is really important to us because it's the space where we can really create a brand universe. Customers that come in can really feel the Filling Pieces vibe, basically.
Yeah.
So it's our type of people working there. It's our music playing. It's our signature scent.
Yeah.
So of course we work with a lot of retailers, but then they basically show maybe 8 to 10 shoes, some T-shirts, some hoodies. But in our own store we can do our own thing.
Yeah.
And then customers can really feel the brand more instead of just seeing it on a rack between all other brands.
Your brand's also represented internationally, in a lot of countries. Yeah. How does it feel to have your brand, which is from Amsterdam, and must feel, I'm filling this in for you now, but must feel maybe quite small at times in terms of like working with your family and where it came from. How does it then feel to have your brand represented internationally?
Yeah, it feels amazing. Especially like I like to travel. I haven't been to all the countries that we sell. Definitely haven't seen all our stores, all the stores we work with. But it's always an amazing feeling to see our brand somewhere else. Yeah. In a big city. That's amazing.
Yeah. I remember when I was working with you that I at the time worked at another retailer that you worked with, and you mentioned, your CEO mentioned that we were your biggest competitor online. Yeah. Which was, I think, exciting times because it was quite I remember you were bringing out quite a lot of new shapes and shoes at that time, which was I thought was really exciting time to work with you guys. Have you also experienced that feeling that you were like competing against other wholesalers?
Yeah, in a way we were, because the customer, in the end the customer decides where he will buy his shoes or his clothing. And nowadays the digital advertising is so big. We pay a lot to Google, to Meta, and the Bijenkorf also does it. Yeah. So then in a way we're competing to get the top position in the search bar or in the Google Shopping or with advertising. And then I think we need to be aware of how to create like a unique experience instead of just making Google rich. Yeah. So that's in a way we're competing, and hopefully it's not on price. Yeah. Because that's also something that's really nowadays people really like to search online to find the cheapest price, which I also understand. Yeah. But I think that the winners in the end will be the ones that show the best experience to the customer. And in a way it's competition, but it's also like a double-edged sword, because from a brand perspective, I think it's great to be in certain retailers, in certain stores, because then it's a window to the world. Yeah. So many people walk by the windows, or they go into the store to look for another brand, and then they see our brand. So it's also really important. And in a way, also if you're a brand that's still developing, it's also a form of validation. Yeah. If you're positioned next to other brands that people admire, then it's also very good for us being a brand. So. Did
you have like a list of brands that you wanted to be next to, that you're next to now?
Yeah. Of course, there's still some brands that we're not next to, but there's also some brands, they only do their own flagship stores. Yeah. So then it's really hard to get next to them, or we need to open a flagship store next to them, but we're not there yet. Yeah.
How has the e-commerce business changed from when you first started at the brand and to now?
Yeah, it changed a lot. Of course, the whole, like I said, the whole advertising part, the digital marketing. In the beginning, there was no Instagram ads or Google Shopping, etc. And it was also a lot of manual work. When we started, we didn't have Shopify with Ideal, etc. So the first, I think we switched platforms with our ecom 5 times, 6 times. So we first started on Big Cartel. That was like a sort of free thing where you can make your own website and sell products. But then all the payments had to go through PayPal.
Okay.
Then we switched to another system, PrestaShop. Then we switched to OpenCart. And I think we ran on that system for some years. But then if we had like a new release, we would have a lot of people on our website. And then with one of the biggest campaigns we did, we had thousands of people on the website and the website crashed. So we were so excited. And then for like an hour, no one could actually order something. And then we just said, okay, we need to find another solution. That's when we switched to Shopify. Yeah. And now with Shopify, everything is running smooth. And there's a lot more automation you can do. So I think that's great right now. But also back then, certain brands or higher end brands, they would never do advertising. Yeah. Because it wouldn't suit their brand. Yeah. And now everyone does it. So it's also the competition is also higher now.
Yeah, I have quite a fun memory from that, because I remember when I was buying shoes for the Bijenkorf, and Celine never wanted to be online. Yeah. And we had a Filling Pieces pop-up, and right after that there was a Celine pop-up. So I remember the team from Celine coming in, and then you were taking down the Filling Pieces show, the pop-up. But they're always like my biggest explanation, because they've gone online and kind of had to go with
for sure.
with the world as it is now. So
and even the LVMH brands, I even see ads of Hermes now. So it's very general now. Yeah,
I think that kind of shopping experience that you definitely had with those brands and still have, but it's kind of expanded into
for sure. And of course there are some players like Goyard, for example. They have a website, but you cannot buy there. You can just see the products, book an appointment, and wait in line. So I think that also really helps them with their exclusivity. Yeah. And I think they do it very well. But maybe they would sell 10-20 times more if they did have a webshop. So that's we'll never know.
Do you feel like your website also kind of brings in other customers that maybe don't shop in the retail, or I don't know, are in different locations?
Yeah, definitely in different locations, because like on a yearly basis we see that we ship to like all kinds of countries. That I think last year we shipped to maybe 90 plus countries. Wow. Yeah. And even we get orders from countries where we don't know how to ship there. So like FedEx. Well, yeah, of course. A lot of like smaller countries or islands, and then we're super happy that we got an order from there. But then FedEx tells us like, hey, we cannot ship here, so
can't get to Madagascar.
Madagascar, for example. Yeah. So it's that can be tough, because we really want to help that customer. Yeah. If a customer from there finds us online, we think it's great to ship there, even if the shipping cost is half of the order value. Yeah. But it's not always possible. And of course now with the whole conflict in between Russia and Ukraine, we also cannot ship to Russia anymore. You get a lot of Russian customers emailing us, hey, why can't we order anymore? But that's of course just the way it is right now. Yeah.
I was going to go back to asking a question, by the way, about the introducing ready-to-wear to the company. When the collections were introduced, did that also change your role on ecom?
In a way it did, because of course also for the visual merchandising, we had a lot of changes. Also we sold only shoe sizes, so on the back end side we had to improve a lot of things, change our photography, etc. But the biggest change was of course for the design team. Yeah. And how we started with the ready to wear was that we sold a lot of shoes at Barney's New York, the department store. They're unfortunately not in business anymore, but back then we sold quite well there. And then the menswear buyer contacted us that they wanted to do like a capsule collection with us, because he really felt their customers would appreciate clothing by filling pieces.
That's an amazing compliment.
And we were thinking about it for a long time already. And then when he asked Guillaume to do it, we thought it was a great opportunity, of course. So then, we designed that collection for, I think, it took a few months and also a few sample rounds, and then we started. But in the end, it was more impactful than we thought it would be. Yeah.
Amazing. I've also seen a number of significant celebrities wearing your brand. I think especially, I don't know if that's true, but my perception, like when you did ready to wear, it was kind of maybe more obvious in photography or right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's actually throughout the years it's quite a long list, and I think I've forgot quite some names already. But with the ready to wear, that's also a part of why we really wanted to do it. Is people don't get shot by the paparazzi, for example, with their shoes. Yeah, it's mostly a face shot or a portrait or anything. And then with the ready to wear, it's a lot better to in terms of branding. And also our sunglasses, when we launch them, it's facial branding is maybe even the best branding.
I remember actually I sent a picture through to your brother because I saw 21 Savage. I was wearing pieces. Yeah, who do you feel is like the which celebrity kind of was the best compliment for you guys?
Well, the best compliment, I think it's really difficult to choose one, but there are a few. I think of course Lewis Hamilton is great because also at what he does, he's the fashion icon of Formula One. Of course, he's really the face of Formula One, and beside that, he's in terms of records, he's the best ever. He's also the first person coming from like a minority background to being in the sport, in a basically a sport that's dominated by rich people and also people of a certain ethnic background. Yeah. And he was the first one. No one believed in him, and he's the best ever. So that's really cool that he wears our stuff. And artists like The Weeknd or an athlete like LeBron James. That's really cool. And back in the day, also Kylie Jenner before she did like other shoe collabs. Yeah. Bella Hadid. So quite some nice names. Yeah.
Amazing. Nice. This season of the podcast is in collaboration with Winkelstraat now, and you also work with Winkelstraat. Their slogan is to help you own it, whatever your it is. And my question to you is, what do you feel like kind of a moment in your career or throughout Filling Pieces trajectory is kind of like a moment that you really felt like you were owning it, like you...
Yeah, well, I think it's multiple moments, but I'm also very aware that, if I can think, well, I own it, and tomorrow, because the fashion industry is developing so quickly, I can own it today, and tomorrow I'll be like old news. So you always need to develop yourself, develop your brand, and know what's going on. So. Owning it, I think, is a very big word.
But I definitely feel, just come back to what you said, like you are definitely a household name in Amsterdam fashion for sure, or Dutch fashion, and brands coming out of this small country.
The small country. Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
No, for sure. Yeah. So in a way, maybe the Dutch market in our segment. Maybe that's something we own. And I think especially with the shoes, like 15 years ago, what we did really wasn't done before. Yeah. And I think we also basically created our segment, especially within the shoes.
Absolutely. Yeah. To prep for this interview, I obviously, like I said, I was listening to some interviews that you've done and also looking on your website, and I know all of the collaborations. Oh, well, no, that's not true. I know many of the collaborations that you've done because I love following your brand. But some of I need to read this out because some of the highlights of the brands that you've worked with I was quite amazed because they're all different. They're not only in the fashion industry. So most recently with KLM, an airline company.
Yeah.
The New Originals, Daily Paper, fashion brands. Bacardi, alcoholic brand, obviously. Jules, a baby stroller brand. Also Holland's Next Top Model TV show, and the Differs Group vehicle company.
Yeah.
And most recently with IWC.
Yeah.
Yep. The luxury watch company. Yeah. How do these collaborations come to life?
Yeah, I think it depends on the collaboration. It's sometimes we get approached, or we approach another brand that can also happen, and some things go very naturally. Of course, the brands you mentioned, like the New Originals and Daily Paper, were all a bunch of friends. We came up together, so then a collab feels very natural. Those are also actually my favorite collabs because it's great to work together with friends and also to empower each other.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it depends. Sometimes we get approached, or we approach another brand, or we get introduced by mutual friends or something. And I think Guillaume's network really helps in creating the collaborations. For sure.
Do you feel like when doing a collab which is outside of fashion, you also tap into a new network? Is that also maybe a reasoning behind why a collaboration could be successful for your brand?
Yeah, I think tapping into a new audience is really important, but also, as a brand, we stand for bridging the gap. So we always try to bridge the gap between also different industries and different design disciplines. Yeah. And I think it's way cooler to do a collaboration with something that's non-fashion than just doing a fashion collaboration for the sake of collaborating. Of course, we've also seen so many collaborations that weren't really impactful. So I think it's also really cool to do a collab with a brand that's outside of fashion. Yeah.
What's your favorite that you've done so far?
Well, like I said, the collabs with like befriended brands like the New Originals or Daily Paper or Kith. And also a few years ago, we did together with other fashion brands from the Netherlands. We did like we did a tea together for the Black Lives Matter movement, which was really also really impactful. Yeah, that was super nice. But of course, the one with IWC is also super cool.
That's the most recent, right?
It's not the most recent. We did that 2 years ago.
It's
not the most recent, but that also really doesn't matter. We did it 2 years ago, but I think why I really like it is, aside from the product that we created, it's, I think, also a super big compliment to be approached by like a luxury watch brand that's been in the business for over 150 years, so much heritage, and that they choose us to work together. So that's really cool. And the one with Differs I also really liked because I've always been a car guy from as long as I can remember. So working together with them, designing our own car, using our materials in the interior.
That's amazing.
And also the products that we created from it, and also the campaign that we shot. That was also really nice.
Any collabs that you're aspiring to, or any brands that you're aspiring to work with?
Well, there are many brands, but
I like to keep them a secret.
No, I'm not gonna keep them a secret, but I like to dream big. So I think something automotive, always amazing. Yeah. But I think in the end, the biggest collab you can do is with Apple.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's manifest it.
Manifest it. Yeah.
You just mentioned about Guillaume's network tapping into some of the collaborations that you've done, but also brands coming to you for a collaboration. How do you feel like a collaboration, like when it comes to what it is, so eventually a collection or a collaboration, how do you feel like it caters like to your main audience?
Yeah, we always try to think together, like if we make something, aside from how it looks, first we think if we create something together, how will the consumer react to it? Is it logical? Does it feel natural? Do our core values are they quite similar or not? And then then we decide on if we're going to do it or not. Because it's not always a great match, and it's also something to be aware of.
What's in the future for Filling Pieces?
Hopefully growth. Hopefully growth. And I think definitely the experience we have now, also with our own flagship store in Amsterdam, we would like to have in other big cities outside of the Netherlands. Also
more retail doors, or your own retail doors.
Our own retail doors to create the brand experience that we can have. And it can also be, like shop in shops in the big department stores as a start, and from there create our own flagship environments.
That's exciting.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
Of course. No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing your story and your career, and it's been really insightful. Thank you so much.
Thanks.